Minnesota Fighting Vikings current head coach Mike Zimmer spoke with the media jackals on Monday after the Vikings embarrassing, just giving away now loss in overtime 34-31 against the Baltimore Ravens. And we said if the Vikings were going to fire Zimmer, it would be today ahead of his midday presser, but he just remains. Also, if you hear some banging, we got some home improvement going on. Actually, no, that's me going from 6 to midnight. Think about Brian Daboll with these offensive weapons. Even though the Bills scored 6. How do you score 6 against the Jaguars? But anyway, last week after the Dallas loss, Zimmer in his Monday post-game presser, day after, Monday morning quarterback presser, whatever, he sounded defeated. Like, he sounded like a guy that knew that he wasn't long for the job. But this week, he sounded defiant. Like, he sounded like old Zim, maybe a little bit more edge. He's like, I'm going to do things my way, and if I get fired, go ahead. I'm getting my full paycheck, and I'm going to have Thanksgiving off. It's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. And he did the normal Zim speak, we're just going to keep working hard, keep going, and keep grinding, blah, 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 blah. And also, I think the Vikings are protecting him just a little bit because the first question went to a team reporter as opposed to KSTP's Joe Schmidt, who they had a bit of a kerfuffle last week on Monday's presser after the Cowboys lost, but whatever. But also, I think Joe sort of gave him a bit of a makeup call, a little bit of a layup, because he asked him about how his defense, 4 turnovers in the last 2 games, has resulted in only 3 points, and then Zimmer got to look at my defense, even though we gave up 500 yards to Lamar Jackson and company. Hey, all these turnovers not turning into points. They got a point. They do have a point. And also, actually, speaking of offense versus defense, Zimmer gave one of the most perplexing answers. Actually, not perplexing. It's pretty on brand. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But the one I want to talk about is, so after Oli Udoh banged his knee against CJ Ham and came out for a couple plays, he returned and played a pretty good game. Respect Oli. The question was asked, I believe it was by Courtney Cronin, why swing backup tackle Blake Brandel was in at guard, a position that he had never played before in a game situation, over rookie third-round pick Wyatt Davis. And they asked if there was any thinking behind it. And he's like, no, not really. No. And then asked about why Davis's progression. He said, Davis is coming along. He's a young guy. He still has work to do, which, you could just say, hey, we prefer Blake Brandel in this spot. We like what Brandel's doing in practice. We thought that he would give us the best chance in that spot, as opposed to just besmirching Wyatt Davis. Like, because now all these questions open up. It's like, oh, is Wyatt Davis not practicing well? Does he have work ethic issues? Is it this? Is it that? Is it other thing? Where you could just say, hey, we thought that Blake was the best guy at that spot. Wyatt Davis, he has a bright future, and he's going to have a spot on this team down the line, but yesterday was not the day. You could say that, but now it just opens everything up. He has a lot of work to do. Even though it might be true, don't put that out there. But on scoring and then fading early, Zimmer said this, quote, it's really one of those dilemmas. We come out there and score on the first series of the game, and I think what happened at the end of the second quarter, we started getting some penalties, and that's been another frustrating thing that's kept us from going anywhere. I'm not sure we did well enough on first downs to set up favorable situations for us. I talked about it all week about first downs on both sides of the ball being a big factor in the game. And he's got a fair point, where the Vikings offense has coming out on scripted plays, opening drives, scoring touchdowns, and then also scored touchdowns on the opening 2 drives, and then just sort of shot themselves in the foot. Whether it's not getting significant yardage on first down, whether it's Dalvin and Madison being bottled up and still trying to run the ball, and then not getting things done on second down, penalties, mistakes, and they're setting up in low percentage third and forevers. And then Kirk Cousins is Charlie check down. He's not even looking for Jefferson or Thielen. He's looking for that underneath route on 3rd and 9. It's like, oh, CJ Ham, oh, Tyler Gronklin, oh, 4 yards, punt. Right, and it was just so frustrating where the Vikings offense yesterday went touchdown, punt, field goal off of an inner frickinception, punt, and then some last minute heroics to get that last touchdown drive. It's just, I feel the pain. I do feel the pain. And then in overtime on that key third and long, facing a blitz by Wink Martindale. And then you saw it was all long developing routes. And he was asked if Kirk Cousins can audible in that spot to a different play. Zimmer said this, quote, Kirk has some options there. The protection was turned the other way on that one. They had a free runner coming off the weak side. Could we have been in a better play? Sure. That series was disappointing to me because I thought we had a chance to get some momentum. Barr made a great play on that interception. We didn't do much with it. So he's patting his defense on the back again. Barr made the interception. We didn't do much with it, which is fair. It's fair. And offensively, saying that, yeah, Kirk has some options there. When Kirk... So he talks about they had a free rusher. The protection was to the wrong side. Now, was that a problem with new center Mason Cole as opposed to Garrett Bradbury in there making the line calls? Did Kirk Cousins not see it? Does Cousins have the autonomy to be able to switch up that play to something, to a hot route or something quick underneath where he can see the blitz coming, he can find the dead zone, reroute the receiver into that area, change the play, do whatever, but they didn't do it, and then they got pressure, and then Cousins basically had to throw it away. So, yeah, it's definitely some frustration there. Should Kirk Cousins, a veteran quarterback in this game, have the authority and on-field autonomy to be able to change that play? Yes, absolutely. Just like every single veteran quarterback out there, and even some of the younger quarterbacks. But it didn't happen for whatever reason, whether Kirk doesn't feel comfortable. Like, he is a guy, we've talked about before, Kirk would be a horrible jazz musician because he needs that sheet music. Whenever he has to scat and beat it up, bop, 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 he's very bad at it. But lastly, so this one will blow your mind. He was asked directly, do you think the offensive mindset changes when you are ahead versus trailing or tied? Zimmer, long pause. And then he also complimented the reporter on the question, which is just clearly a buying for time thing. But last week I harped on being aggressive on both sides of the ball. When we went into overtime on defense, I bet we blitzed 20 times. It's the same mentality about understanding there's a team that likes to pressure you and be able to protect it and get the ball to your guys. I think they hit us on a 3rd and 15 on a wide receiver screen. We didn't play very well. Those are situations we can't give away defensively either. What in God's green earth does that have to do with the direct question of, do you think the offensive mindset changes when you're ahead versus when you're tied or behind? I don't understand it. And now, maybe Zimmer misunderstood the question. Maybe he misheard it. That's fine. But I think it's more of a case of Zimmer just always just gravitates back to the defense, where he doesn't give two hoots about the offense as long as they run the MF and ball, and as long as they don't give the ball away, and blah 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 blah. But it's just insane. It's similar to the rationale of not going for 2 at the end of that game. And again, people misunderstood that video. The rationale was more about why they didn't go for 2 as opposed to kicking the extra point, because the rationale is exactly the same. Well, we didn't go for 2 because they have Justin Tucker in a minute and 2 timeouts. It's the same as if you kick the extra point, but I digress there. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe Zimmer's just tired. Maybe this is just the way that he's wired. He always thinks defense first, and he doesn't really care about the offense. And it's the offense that's sputtering. Like, the defense can look good in spurts. They can get turnovers, even though they do give up 500 yards. A lot of it is because the offense was punt, 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 and they were gassed at the end of the game. Played 98 plays on defense, but we got another week. And we said last week where we doubted that Zimmer would be fired on a road game because you don't really want to set up an interim coach and staff with that burden. And also, I don't think that ownership will feel the full weight of fan apathy until the Packers game. Where, hey, if the Vikings drop one in LA, week 11, Vikings-Packers at US Bank Stadium, that could be 75% green in that stadium. And that's just sickening. That's just absolutely sickening. But I don't blame the fans, man. Like, this team has done everyone dirty. Because the potential is there, but just every single game they make it more difficult than it needs to be. But whatever. Anyways, let us know your thoughts on our thoughts, Zimmer's thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Pay that man his money. But until next time, Skol, production value.